So we'll call the meeting to order at 5:02. Should we start with approval of minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, there's background music going on too. That's better.
All right. Well, I guess we should start. And start with the approval of last meeting's minutes.
Yep. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
And I'll second
Okay.
that.
Second that, okay. Guess, Christine, do you want to,
Sure. So we have motor vehicle abatements for 2020, which is 7278. And for 2021, 4,747.77. And then we'll move on to motor vehicle recommitments. We have year 2014, which is 5250, and 2015, which is 5250. And lastly, we have motor vehicle excise commitment that went out for 2021. It's the third one. It's 81,026.06.
okay.
And that's it.
I don't have the agenda in front of me here, but
Well, we skipped over the public speak time, but I don't think we have any other participants, so that was kind of a moot point.
okay.
And now we have taken care of number 3, the abatement applications to review and sign. Well, I guess those will be going out. And then she has told us about the commitments and the recommitment.
And I think Randy wanted to talk about ATB, right, Randy?
Yeah, it was about the only thing I really had to talk about. So, Peter, we had talked about briefly about the situation when you were here. And as it turned out, the Rich Relich, who is the owner or the main person over at 15 Cottage Street, contacted ATB at the last second and said he needed more time. So we ended up rescheduling until September 8th. And then part of it was my fault because I had talked to him and then I said I would get back to him before we got to that point. But I really didn't get the chance. Things came up and then I only got the chance to talk to you, Peter, about it just the day before. And so then he used that as a reason to say, well, no, I need more time. And then he talked to me about something that he and Lori talked about, he said, and the one thing that kind of didn't add up, and I wanted to make sure that we looked at it, and it was, he was comparing himself to the deed restricted properties at Parsons. So the Parsons Street project, he was comparing himself to, even though those are townhouses and his is, his are apartments and it's different, he still was saying that the price per unit was a big difference, like $330 per square foot as opposed to $433 per square foot. So he told me that he talked to Lori about it, and when he did, she said, well, gee, yeah, it looks like there might be something there, but she never gave him an explanation or went any further with it and just kind of moved on. So because he said that there was something, I told him, and because I now have more time, everything was scheduled for September 8th, that I would try and look into it a little bit and just make sure. Now, when I had talked to Peter, you told me that when we granted his abatement initially, we did a comparison to those other things and did our best to make it an even playing field for all of the similar type of properties.
Right.
And so I didn't really know that for sure, but I told them, well, I'll try and look into it. And when I get the chance, I'll see. And if I come up with something, I'll call you back, or basically either way, I'm going to touch base with them and tell them that, okay, we still feel our value is good and it's on. So we'll talk to you on the 8th at the hearing. Or if there is something that comes up, then I'll let you, let the board know and see what they think before we go to the hearing. And I mean, if it is something legitimate that somehow we had overlooked and, he is still, has a case, or we believe that there's a reason that we might reduce his value a little bit more, which I'm not anticipating at this point. We can do that, but that's sort of where we're at this point.
I mean, I'm thinking that, well, there's a number of variables there. One of them is time. Parsons is older. Also, Parsons has a mix of 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units. So his are basically industrial building loft type things. That was, and there's, I think, 50 units there. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, 50.
Right. And there's 32 at Parsons. So it's what, 3/4 of 2/3, whatever, I don't know, of what's there. The other thing is we also took into effect Treehouse. Now Treehouse is going back. Treehouse now is probably 10 to 12 years old. So, I don't know. I don't know what those numbers are, but I mean, I at least remember that Lori told me that that's what she was doing, that she was going through. And I believe that we did, as a board, vote on something. It was maybe, it probably came up 8 years ago when Parsons went in, and then it probably came up 4 years ago when Cottage Street came in. So, because we did have, that was part of the thing, I think, with their abatement that we did, so that it made everybody kind of even. I mean, again, I'm going by my memory, which is, I can't remember what I had for soup today. So, I mean, I believe that we should go to ABT and let's deal with this one way or another. I mean, Roy had been involved with all of these projects, and since he's the guy that's kind of the expert, I would say that, we go by our numbers were good for him, and he was okay with it. So, I think that we just, once and for all, I think that they are trying to kind of wear us down a little bit and trying to get us to do something, to go to ABT, and that's what it's there for on both sides. So, I think that we just go forward with what we had originally planned.
And that's sort of where I'm at too. So I just pulled up this email so that, following up on our conversation earlier today, I'm sending along the previous disparity between the assessed values of Cottage and Parsons Village. While Parsons Village is a superior property in terms of being new construction, townhouse style with the garages, etc., it was assessed significantly lower on a per unit basis than Cottage, despite having the same affordability deed restrictions. And he's saying that, while in the past, I do not think it needs to be revisited. While in the past now, I do think it will need to be revisited as part of the overall discussion with the appellate board at the hearing. So he's planning on bringing it up. And that's like,
well, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's somewhat of a comparable. But the other thing is the mix is different, the age is different, the number is different, and the location is different, and the construction is different. I mean, if he's looking at what the total assessment is, it's going to come down to an income thing, and he's got 18 more units. And the big thing is, he wouldn't have a problem with it if he's not involved in the lawsuit and doesn't have, you know, $90,000. He's trying to write off his legal bills. And I don't think that that's something that we should shy away from mentioning.
And that's something I actually already brought up with him and explained to him that while I understand that it's an expense, it's not an expense as the normal part of your business. And we're
Right.
also, if you have a favorable decision and you win your lawsuit, I'm sure that your income is not going to show a significant and dramatic increase when that happens. And so I
Right.
can't allow you to have that large of an expense as part of your regular course of doing business and take that into account, because if I did, your value according to the cap rate that we're using and the other factors is going to be, you know, a few $100,000 compared to the millions of dollars that it really is. So, you know, I explained that to him and he seems to understand, but he's still trying to.
Well, what it does is it opens up the door to go through this every year. Because next year, maybe he's got twice as much for legal fees. The next year, none. So it's a bouncing ball.
Well,
I think that we need to have someone, I mean, if I don't know if Roy goes to these things or whether, you know, we have his paperwork, but I mean, ABT, this is what they're there for, to go through this. And hopefully they would explain that to him. I mean, I think that we have a very good case. I can't see them saying that that's an allowable expense. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's a once or twice occurrence. It's not an expense. So, you know, and
so I agree, and I think he's grasping at straws at this point. He's trying to use ATB as a threat to us to.
I see it as a help.
Yeah, and I agree. So that's sort of where we're at. We're drawing our line and saying, okay, if you're so diametrically opposed to our viewpoint and you don't want to take our word for it, well, then we'll let someone else make the decision for us.
Let someone be the arbiter.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what they're there for.
Just because he's mentioned this other stuff, actually, I wrote down everything that you said, Peter, and that's exactly what I'm going to use to counter that when I'm at the hearing. It's like, okay, well, it's not the same mix, it's not the same age, it's a totally different location, and the construction is totally different. It's just not a comparable property, despite the fact that they have the similarity of the deed restrictions. That's the only similarity that they have.
Right. I mean,
quick question. Is there any development that is more comparable that you can throw out there?
No.
Okay.
I mean, we have three. The only other affordable ones, I shouldn't say that. There are some smaller ones, but nothing of that size. But the only other affordable units in town are, you know, city owned. You know, it's basically Treehouse. I mean, that's what I was going to say is do we have those figures from Treehouse? How does that cap rate work for Treehouse?
And so that's some of the information that I'll be delving into to further.
Right. Because those are the three. Those are the three. And, you know, Treehouse is because of the foster children as well, but also it does include the smaller rental apartments that are there that are primarily seniors. And part of their deal of being there is to act as grandparents, you know, type of thing. That's kind of their thing, you know. So and there is a community space that is there because it is an active community. So, you know, it's not a direct ideal comp, but what it is, it's another subsidized type of thing that we've got down because of the lack of income and the greater expenses. So, you know, and that's the community. So, you know, I feel comfortable where we are, you know, so.
to follow up on your previous statement, you were mentioning Roy from Bishop Associates,
Yep.
and he is involved. So when he helps us with our values and getting certified, part of that is that he's going to help us defend those values.
If we go to ABT, okay?
So he
Okay.
is aware. He actually even did some more crunching of the numbers, and he did like a blend of the previous 3 years to see where everything would be at, basically to help substantiate where we're at and that it is legitimate. And that was submitted with the other documentation that we have to send into ATB for the last hearing, and it will all still be there. So
Okay.
Roy will be there on the 8th. He'll be helping us defend.
Okay.
And you know, it is what it is at this point. I'm going to try and do some more number crunching to try and you know, deflect or be able to better deflect his mention of these other you know, what he's saying are comparable. I think all know that they're really not the same thing. Like I said, the greatest similarity is that they're both deed restricted properties, and that's basically where the similarities end.
Right, right. I mean, I remember, I mean, just anecdotally, you know, I mean, there was a lot of trouble with contractors and stuff, and I know they ran over budget, but you know, it's life. I mean, the thing is, I feel comfortable, and just to do some housekeeping here, I mean, should we have a formal, you know, motion for this that, you know, we are going forward? I mean, do we need that?
No, I don't think that we need that.
I
We're
mean-
already basically.
I mean, we're due to go there anyway, whether, you're right. so-
Right. It's not really us that we're going there. We're going there in response to him. He's
Right, right. He's going to the board. We're the ones that are defending. So.
Yeah, so we're prepared to defend, and we've got plenty of ammo, and we feel very strongly that our values are accurate. And so, you know, we're the only thing I'm going to do on my end in my communications with him is better prepare myself to counter anything that he might bring up. So everything that he's telling me and all these things, you know, I'm going to be using that against him if I can when we're at the appellate tax board and say, well, yes, he's saying this, but let me explain that what he's doing is this and this and this, and this is why it's no good, and it's not an accurate comparison. It's not an accurate comparable to the situation. And that's why we're disregarding it. We feel that our value is accurate.
Right. Okay. Brings us to other business, new business. Is there any before the board?
Not really at this time, no.
Okay. Well, now that's August 8th,
No, it's September 8th,
September 8th. Okay.
Wednesday, and we'll be at 10 a.m.
All right. Is there any, there's no new business, there's no nothing. So I guess I will ask for, oh, let's see, a motion to,
Adjourn.
I'll make a motion
to approve for the public.
And the recommitments,
Yeah, all that stuff.
that stuff.
Abatements, recommitments, and commitments. There we go.
I don't think there were any abatements. Yes.
I'll second that
You
motion.
gotta have a second? Okay. All righty. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. All right. And we can entertain a motion to adjourn?
Yes,
Oh.
we
Well, next
talk
meeting,
about the box.
next meeting, we're just gonna do the one again. Is that correct?
Yep, August 24th at 5, is that okay?
Yep, that sounds fine, Christine.
Okay. And who would like the box?
Oh,
I'll take the box tonight and I'll drop it on Peter's porch first thing in the morning.
okay, that sounds good.
Does
Okay.
that work?
And then I'll drop it off at Scott.
Okay, just text me in the morning when you're on your way.
I mean, just to make, I'll make sure you're home. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know where you live sometimes during the day, so.
There you go.
We'll get it to you.
There you go.
Okay?
You said August 28th,
24.
24th
24th.
at
Thank
5.
you.
It's a Tuesday.
Got it.
And do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Bye.
All right.
Nice to see everyone, kind of.
Thanks,
Good to
everybody.
see everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm, our little get-togethers, as short as they are during the summer, but I guess, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on, I know, and there's things coming down the pike. I know there's a lot of new stuff going on in town, so I have the feeling that, number one, I have the feeling that someone other than the board is going to be very busy coming up this fall, going into some new properties and looking at all the work that's being done, you know. Is that still going back and forth between building and everything? Is that still running pretty smoothly? You
Well,
know?
we're doing our best to get all the information. And,
Right.
I unfortunately didn't get any input from Lori, so I'm not sure exactly where she has left off. And so I've got probably way more permits on my spreadsheet than I really need to go and see, but I don't want to miss anything.
No.
There's so many at this point that I am going through and I'm picking out additions and demolitions and new construction.
Right.
And I'm concentrating on those first because, you know, all of the new roofs and things that were done, but they're not necessarily changing in value.
Right.
I'm going to save those for later on to make sure that I'm capturing as much as I can for new growth for
Right.
our fiscal year.
Right. So, okay. All righty. Well, I got nothing else other than saying, see you guys.
Bye. I'll be
everybody.
over,
Thank you,
Martha.
Christine.
Thank
You're
Okay,
you.
welcome.
thank you, Christine.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care all.
You too.